And welcome to another wacky ass episode of Let's Talk Ghosts with your crazy ass host, Sunray, where nothing goes right for me. I'm hoping you guys can see me on Facebook. If not, I am definitely here on YouTube. Make sure to drop a comment, say hello, let me know you're here. So, a surprise live surprise episode. This is going to be the second episode of the Starseed Children mini-series with my friend GBlunt, who I'm going to bring on to the screen right now. So let's say hello to GBlunt.
Yo, what's up, Sunray?
Hey, hey. So I want to talk about a little bit of this crazy stuff that keeps happening around this episode.
That's a good
Because
start.
we've been trying to do this episode for months, couple of months now.
Yeah.
And then when I was putting this episode together, I was having a lot of technical difficulties, and then I got sick, which prevented us from doing the scheduled live. Just really weird stuff. And then I went to go pull out my notes today, and I lost more than half of my notes. I have no idea where they went. They're like just gone off the page.
Hmm. It's like someone's not trying to let us do this.
Yeah, no joke.
I had some work issues
Uh,
myself and all that too. So yeah. From
yeah, it's pretty wild stuff. But it sounds like the stuff that was happening to you was for a better.
yeah, very much true. That's very true.
So I do not know if we are live on Facebook.
Yeah, I keep kind of checking to see if it's. I'm trying to pull it up on
Uh,
YouTube.
yeah, Jesse said that it's not on Facebook. It's telling me here unable to data offline. Well, again, this is the wonderful experience of Sunray going live each and every time. Oh, look, we should be streaming there now.
Oh, sweet.
All right.
What up, Jesse?
Cool. Yes. Thank you, wifey, for being here as always. Number one supporter. So yes, this should. I just clicked here. Wow. All right, cool. So yay, we are live on Facebook now. Welcome to Let's Talk Ghosts. For being here as
Okay. Yay.
With this is a mini series that GBlunt and I have been trying to do for a few months, and today we're going to talk about one of the Starseed children that most don't know are Starseed children.
Right. I think that was one of the most interesting things I was learned about that.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize it. But of course, like everything has to have a balance, and I think reptilians are kind of a balance to Starseed children. And I learned that not all reptilians are bad.
Yes, correct.
So, what are reptilians? Some of them are known as reptoids, archons, reptiloids, draconians, and lizard people.
Yep.
So draconians, that's a different kind of starseed children that they're connected to.
Other than like the from the Lyrian or Orion star
Mm-hmm.
system. Okay. Okay. Right. I think I
See,
didn't
and
kind of.
that's kind of the weird thing too that I've been kind of experiencing with looking up the reptilians is there's kind of some mixed opinions on where they do come from. Some say they're the Draco or Orions, or
Mhm.
they're the Lyrians.
Right.
So I mean, there's kind of skepticism on where they actually come from.
Hmm. Well, at some point, I have my own thoughts about that. I know we'll get to it, but yes.
Yes, I'm excited to talk about your thoughts on this. Um, So, like I said, I don't have very many notes, so I'm going to kind of let you take the lead on this and then kind of give my inputs at the parts that I have stuff for.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me just pull up my little bit of notes here, and I know, I mean, just to kind of just touch on it from the beginning. The Starseed aspect of it, right? So some traits that I've researched that reptilian Starseed children have. They're strong, resilient. They have natural leadership. They're very good at strategy, and yeah, they're very power oriented, but not always like in a bad way. But they're very good at managing. Um, managing things. So, if you have very good organizational skills, I guess you might be a reptilian Starseed child. I don't know. They're very mission oriented, and they're also big on empowering others and helping others overcome fear.
Hmm.
Um, so that's some starter traits I have as far as their personality goes.
So, in the little bit of research that I have written down here is that they came here to heal and give truth and light to people, and they're kind of guardians of the earth, which is why they're so organized and in those leadership roles. And they
Hmm.
also have talked about a lot of people in our government system. A lot of the leaders and the top people that have voices and speak a lot are the ones that could potentially be reptilian. For instance, the Clintons are some, the
Yeah,
Bushes, the Reagans, which were all pretty strong named presidents.
yeah. I came across a video of George W. Bush shape shifting, having a glitch. His eyes kind of blinked.
Hmm.
So I don't doubt that at all, honestly. Um, I mean, so then if you kind of want to expand on that with the presidents and all these world leaders, and we'll call them the powers that be, right? Um, I think they're all connected to that ancient bloodline that runs the world. And these are the ones, in my opinion, that don't have our best interests in mind at this very moment.
Hmm.
And I'm just going to say that point blank. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, and I wish I had some pictures, but I feel like there's a lot of like, the drawings and the caves and stuff like that of reptilian looking like people.
Oh
So
yeah.
I definitely feel like they've been here a lot longer than any of us realize.
So I just kind of go right into my whole idea because so there's some skepticism about the Orion or Draconian star systems and the Lyrian star systems, and I'm sure there's a lot of truth to that dates back eons, right? Time immemorial. But I think in more recent history, as far as Earth is concerned, I think that's kind of shout out to Dino Baby, but that's where like the dinosaurs, that they did walk this Earth. um, Maybe they didn't go extinct. That's kind of the direction I like to go for. And they went underground and they continued to evolve. And obviously over trillions of years that Earth was here, whatever like that, they evolved into humanoid beings before apes did. If you kind of want to go down that whole evolution thing, and they kind of started pulling the strings from then on. And
Wow.
yeah, yeah.
I like that thought of them being here when the dinosaurs were here and stuff. That is
Mm,
really a cool thought.
yeah. So
Uh, what about like how they're connected to aliens and stuff like that?
So and this is my personal opinion. I didn't read this anywhere, and then maybe I can kind of pull up some of my notes here. But my first thought to that would be that maybe that we're the origin, that this part of the universe is the original originators of the reptilian star seeds.
Oh, like Earth is the origin of where they come from?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that
Mhm.
thought.
Yeah. And to kind of back that up into another segue I was going to get into, I like to think that because there's a lot of serpent mythology on this planet, a lot.
Hmm.
And a lot of it, I mean, throughout all of the cultures and throughout history. And like you said in the beginning, like a lot of those ideas that came from these cultures, they were not negative. They didn't view these serpents as reptiles as evil. or anything like that, ill intentioned. Like, you get into the let me pull it up here. Uh-oh. Hold on. Because I was gonna start off with some of the Indian Hindu ones, and like you have the ones in like Coatzacoalcos and from the Aztec mythology, like you said, a lot of protector and a lot of those traits that the more good ones have. But yeah, I think a lot of I do think a lot of it's based off of Earth. If you want my honest opinion.
That's interesting, and that would explain as to why people have assumptions on where they come from, but aren't really sure
Mm-hmm.
what constellation they're connected to because they're from here.
Right. And then with that being said, I mean, there's got to be some type of there's obviously a spiritual war going on, and I think that the ones that control us currently are a very small group that just happen to be very influential, and they my idea is that they skewed the thoughts of reptilians and kind of made them like they like the whole serpent myth, like the whole snake in the Garden of Eden, perfect example.
Mm.
They made him out, they made Satan out to be this whole bad guy or whatever like that, but really, like what was he actually trying to do? Give us knowledge. I'm not saying, I'm not, I'm just kind of putting that idea out there. Like, was
I think a lot of people are opening their eyes a little bit more to
yeah,
that
yeah. So
whole
okay,
situation.
right, okay. So then I can speak a little freely on that part, but yeah. So that's I think that's one of the prime examples of how the serpent myth has been perverted in uh in our history, especially through
And
Christianity. That.
yeah, I definitely do think that there's like a good side and a bad side. I firmly believe that in every aspect there has to be like a balance to everything.
Mm-hmm.
So just like humans, I do still think that there are negative reptilians out there
Mm-hmm.
that are still leaders. They can still be very powerful and persuasive, but not do good with it. Um, a little bit of what I had read was some of them even actually feed off of people's pain and fear, and
Hmm.
that's why certain situations and things in our history you've noticed like leaders, dictatorships, and stuff like that. Especially those ones that have been accused of being reptilians. I think those are the ones that aren't necessarily doing the good.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I know. I'm not familiar if you're familiar with David Icke. He's a conspiracy theorist. He gets into all that, but his main conspiracy theory is the reptilian shadow government.
Yeah.
I mean, he gets into the Anunnaki and DNA manipulation and all that, but his basis is behind it. Kind of starts with the reptilian race. It's crazy to think that they can like be living right under our feet, huh?
Yeah, it is actually really crazy. And like the whole like lost civilization that's under there where people are living to like 800 years old.
Shut up. Sorry.
Hey, it's not my dog this time.
Hey, come here, Rollo. Come here.
So I have some of these little cliff notes here.
Sorry, I'll get him to stop. I'm so sorry. Can you give me 1 second, please? I'm so sorry, everyone. I did not sit over there. Move this thing over here. All right, I'm back. Hey, sorry about that. And Rollo will stop barking here very shortly.
It ain't a show if there ain't a dog barking somewhere.
Yeah.
So this one right here, this kind of goes in with your shadow government, which you were just saying about that. The reptilians are the beings that run the world today alongside with the shadow government.
Oh, is this a video? Oh, sweet.
No, it's just a photo. These
Oh,
ones are just photos.
yep. Yeah. And doesn't it look like an evolved dinosaur?
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah.
like half human, half dinosaur.
Mm-hmm.
And then reptilians are the reason why thousands of people go missing every year, which I totally had seen something else about how it goes after the god races. And I didn't know this, but the Mexicans and the black race are considered the god races. Have you ever
Yeah.
heard of
Oh yeah.
that?
I've that gets into a lot of the yeah, I have heard of that, and I know especially with from the African continent, the cradle of motherfucking civilization, is like a lot of the melanated. They say that melanated people have a lot more spiritual connections. I think that every race on this planet has something unique to them. But yeah, I have heard that about melanated peoples.
Which
Now, as
I
far as
do
hmm,
really feel, and which I really do feel and believe that, because if you look at their histories and their timelines and things that come from their cultures and religions and stuff, they're always very, very strongly spiritual.
yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Um, and that, yeah, that goes back to so you're saying that these people are being targeted by the powers that be, which with everything that's going on, you know,
Hmm.
makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. How freaking like creepy is
Right.
that? Like feeding off of pain and
Hmm.
fear, and then going after the god races. Which, if you look at the current situations, it's
Hmm.
kind of mind blowing.
Yeah.
Um, and then there's this one, the Draco reptilian is an extraterrestrial race that comes from the Draco star system, aka the Orion star constellation.
So that's what I'm going to look at. Are Ryan and Draconian star systems close to each other?
That's a good question.
Ryan and Draconian star system. Let me see here. Orion is Orion constellation, one of the most recognizable and prominent constellations in the night sky, featuring bright stars and a notable nebulae. Let's see. Mythology. Orion is named after a hunter in Greek mythology, often depicted as a giant with a club in the shield. He is also associated with various myths, including Pursuit of Pleiades and the Seven Sisters. Huh, I never thought of looking at the myth of Orion and the actual star system itself.
Hmm.
But then let me see where it is in. I kind of went off topic there.
No, it's totally all right.
Relation to the Draco star system. The Draco constellation, the brightest star in Draco is the Gamma Draconius. Draconian stars, myths, facts. Is one of the largest constellations in the sky. Draco is one of the Greek constellations.
Hmm.
Yeah, everyone, you got to understand. I am just learning this as I go along, but it's been the most
Both of us.
interesting study I've ever done and all this stuff. I've learned so much. Still learning
Well,
stuff.
and honestly, like all of the stuff that I've ever done research for, you usually find tons of information, tons of it everywhere. But for
Mm,
some reason, with the reptilians, there's not really that much information. It's everything you can see and read and watch is literally just the same basic stuff of the information that we have right here.
mm. I mean, and I'm glad we're getting this one out the way first, because these guys, we can forget about these guys after a while, because
Hmm.
they're like I said, I've been getting bad feelings, but like also, I think it's more than just the government too, and we've kind of already alluded to it, but I think they permeate the Hollywood and the media sphere as well. I mean, they're
Oh, no
influencing
doubt.
all that.
No doubt. And I'm sure that they have like abilities to be able to like be omnipresent in a way and like be able to observe a lot more, and that's why a lot of people's stuff gets shut down all the time.
Mm, yeah. Oh yeah. 100%. Yeah. They when I say they run the world, they. And listen, if any of us go,
um,
if Sunray or G Blunt goes missing, you guys know exactly what happened. It is on a
we're
record.
probably we're probably in the Draco or the Orion constellation.
That's funny.
So this one totally like talks about what you were saying, that they live underground bases, and some of them even live in the water, which
Mm,
kind of like, if they live in water too, obviously they're reptilians. They
Right.
would want that kind of thing. But like they're even talking about finding aliens in the oceans and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. So if they are extraterrestrials, uh, there's a connection right there.
Yep. Yeah. And I kind of had this thought as we were talking earlier. I think with a lot of their shape shifting abilities and a lot of some of their manipulation traits, they might just be trying to fool people and just infiltrating themselves into other star systems and trying to maybe even do something like that to try and fake the funk. Maybe, I don't know. That's just
Oh
I'm
man,
just surmising
like
here.
one of them actually wrote this article that I read about them. All these articles that we've read about them coming from the certain constellations, like they're the ones that planted that seed in our minds, and they never came from one.
Hmm. Hmm.
They're like, "Ooh, I'm from that one. I'm gonna infiltrate them."
Yeah.
The
Hmm.
more beings and energy here that believe that is truth, maybe it will become a truth.
Yeah. Right. That's,
I'm gonna get real weird.
hey, no, do it. Let's do it. That's what we're here for.
Uh, let's see, what else do I have here? Of course, the reptilians walk amongst us every day, and they are able to bend light and able to shapeshift, which kind of goes into this really weird thing that I had read about them that it kind of reminds me of like a really old movie or something, but apparently reptilians project how they want to be with a crystal ball that they have in their head.
Mm.
And it's either that or just a classic meat suit, but I like the idea of the crystal ball
Hmm.
because they can manipulate you how you see them, but say they're not focused on that manipulation, that's when you start seeing the twitches in people and the like weird face changes that you see in people when they're switching back and forth between their humanoid and their reptilian figures.
Hmm. That's a membrane that is very unique to all reptiles too.
Right
When their
here.
eyes go like this.
Oh yeah.
And you want to know an interesting fact? And this is slight segue here, but I have this other. I've heard this theory because domesticated house cats, they also have that third eyelid, as well as they got. And if you look at lions or cheetahs, they got circular eyes. Certain most
Mm,
big cats do. You look at domestic cats, they have eyes like reptiles. They got that third membrane. You ever see a cat go up against a snake?
no.
They got faster reflexes than a snake. The idea is that some point down the line that the Anunnaki or whoever, maybe the reptilians, they crossed cats and reptiles and made to make the house cat. Now I
Oh,
don't
that's
I don't know if I
interesting.
necessarily believe it because I always felt like cats are our spiritual protectors on this plane, but I kind of
That
like that's weird.
that
Hmm.
I do believe because my cats, anytime I do anything spiritual, they have to be in my lap or walking around me, or they're always doing something with me when I'm acting spiritual. So
But
Jesse asks, who in real life do you think is a reptilian disguised right now? Katy Perry.
Katy Perry, oh yeah, Katy Perry would be.
Beyonce.
Yup.
If
Swift.
Beyonce is not a reptilian, she's a demon. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, don't come after me. I do not want to wish it in my life.
As much as I hate to say it, Lil Wayne definitely looks like a reptile.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
this one right here. This one.
I'm sorry, Wayne. Don't get mad at me, man. If you ever see this, yeah. But he's more than likely a reptilian.
Oh shit, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. So I do have a couple of videos. Let me see here. Okay, I'm gonna play one of these videos and then I'll play the other one closer to the end. But I'm gonna take us off screen real quick.
People in the comments said she was shapeshifting. You tell me what's going on.
Hey, go on here with all that. Go on over there with all that. Go. I'm not even in the mood today. Get away.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Go.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Seth, come on over here.
Did you
know,
see that? Did it
I
load
did.
and
I did.
play
I
as
said
it
I
was
like
trying
that.
to?
Yeah, it did. It did, and it played on the TV good too.
Oh, funny. All right, so
Yeah.
yeah, what did you think about that one? Like at first I was like, "Ooh, this lady's just on drugs," and then actually seeing her fucking eyes and the weird shit, I was all, I don't
You
know,
know,
this is something else.
it made me think of two things. Number one, there was that lady on that plane like a year ago, and they kicked her off the plane because she was like, "That man was not there," or something. You remember that
Mhm.
video?
He's not real. That guy
Yeah,
is not real.
right.
Yeah.
A lot of people were saying that was like she was seeing a shapeshifter, and that's kind of where she freaked out. But that was connected to another phenomenon that was happening, like I want to say a year or two ago, that was kind of going around on TikTok and stuff. Of people starting to see other people's faces starting to manipulate like in real time, like just kind of everyone just shifting, like there's like some type of veil that's being lifted, obviously, and that people are actually seeing this, and that's what's freaking out. And that's what that lady saw, and that kind of reminded me of that video we just played. I was like, maybe that was what was happening almost, and these
Oh, like she was
shapeshifters are,
stuck in a transition.
yeah, I think that was kind of like something that was similar to that.
That is very creepy to think
Yeah.
about. And yeah, on that topic of that lady on the plane, which the whole world probably knows about it. Um, but I had seen, and I've only seen it once, and I never come across it again. But I had seen a real that what seemed like a real reply to that lady, and it was just this guy that was covered in tattoos, and he had his tongue split, and he had a Freemason tattoo,
Mm.
and she freaked out on him, so he decided to fuck with her and like showed her his split tongue and was like, Satan wants you or something like that to freak her out, and she freaked out and left the plane and had that big old meltdown. But I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know if that's really the guy or if she really did see something weird.
Right. That's funny. But I think that they are starting to show themselves, and like the more that we become aware as a society, those masks and stuff start to break down.
Oh, most definitely. The more and more we awake, the more and more we see that veil is getting so thin.
Yeah.
I definitely think that our worlds are merging.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Okay, so you want to talk to me about some of your connections and your connecting the dots
Yeah.
theories?
So let me get up my little situation here. Well, are you familiar with like you're familiar with Kundalini energy?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's like the whole Hindu idea of serpent power and like your spine, and how you have this and I do believe a lot of that's connected to a lot of the raising the consciousness and stuff like that, obviously. But yeah, you start there, you start there, and you have it's like you almost have a serpent inside of you, the sense of like your spine is made up of all these nerves and fluid and bones that's just running all this electricity from your brain to the base. And where am I going with this? I'm just kind of ranting now.
With the
But
Kundalini energy.
yeah, I think what you're able to unlock that and raise that consciousness, you're you'll be in a much better spot. But that's the Hindu side of it, and then you get into a lot of the ancient Chinese dragons. And I mean, so then there's dragons all throughout history. You got the Chinese dragons, you got, over there in Europe, there's dragons in South American culture. I'm not sure if there's dragons in Native American culture up here, but I mean, all those connections throughout history, like I was trying to say earlier, like maybe that these are just different evolutions from the dinosaurs that kind of just kept on going. You know, I think that we definitely lived alongside because you know you even mentioned earlier there's some cave paintings of reptilians and there's cave paintings of dinosaurs. So you know how are people able to see that? You know, so then I got them all those dinosaurs going underground, gaining intelligence and sentience, all that. Oh, okay. What's this here? The Hopi ant people. Why did I have that on here? Oh, because that suggests a subterranean advanced society. That's why that's there. Let's see.
Madwack wants to know, should other non-dinos be afraid of these reptilians?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I definitely know. I know we're protected.
You know, if you have a lot of love and light around you and
Mhm.
like you know what you're doing or you know what to expect and stuff like that, I think you're very well protected. And your intentions being pure always helps you protect yourself from bad things that could feed off of you and manipulate you.
Mm, I agree. Because that's what they want, right? They want us to be scared, right? They
Hmm.
want us to be fear. They want us to be feared because that's what they feed off of. So if we don't give them that, then they lose.
Shelly says I saw something today. If we evolved from apes, why didn't they evolve? So I totally have this theory, missing link. I think the missing link is an alien, and I think that's why we look the way we look and advanced as quickly as we did
Mm-hmm.
from ape men, cavemen, and stuff like that.
So based on what you just said, I would go ahead and just say that that would make them the almost original beings of this planet. Then, if we're the hybrids, then yeah, then they would be. We're on their planet then. And essentially, if some other race came and you know did some genetic modifications, then they were probably like, well, what the hell? Why did you make these monkeys smart all of a sudden?
Oh shit, that's a fucking wild thought. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I'm probably going to get a lot of slack for this, but as an American, we already steal everything. And to know that we may have stolen a whole entire planet,
Yo, that's it. That's vociferous, yo. That's real. Damn. Hmm.
okay.
I think we're
Anyway.
figuring it out. Hmm. Yeah. That's honestly that's everything I got on that. I mean, the fact I think that we're just kind of with the whole reptilian starseed, it is definitely a blend of ancient mythology, you know, modern conspiracies. I don't want to say sci-fi because I don't feel like it's fake, but I
Mhm.
mean it's definitely something that I think is one of the most it permeates our culture the most than any of the other starseed children that we're gonna touch on.
Yeah. This
Yeah.
is definitely the one that's a little bit more feared.
Mhm.
You know, and that I am aware of that has a good side and a bad side. With
Mhm.
other starseed children, I haven't heard any negatives about them.
No.
But I mean, that's something I might read up on when we do further research for this series. But reptilians, for sure, they're definitely an idea and many thoughts about what they are. They're either, you know, I kind of like that theory that they've always been here and they evolved.
Mhm.
Um, but you know that they could be aliens or shapeshifters or that you know they might not even be just reptilians. They could be like skinwalkers, you
Right.
know, things like that. Like there's so many different thoughts that it could be. Um, but it was definitely fun to do the research on these
Yeah.
because people really are really scared of them, and to know that there is a different side of them too. That
Mhm.
they are guardians, and if they're guardians of this human society, if there are guardians, it's their earth that they're protecting if they've
Yep.
always been here.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. Very, very interesting.
I
All right, I
know.
got one more video.
Okay.
Folks, we got another reptilian shapeshifter caught on live TV. Like, look at those teeth! This man's evil. I don't know who he is, he's evil. Want more proof that lizard people or reptilians are real? Check out this video, link in bio.
Okay, what did you think of that one?
That scared the crap out of me, though. I ain't gonna lie. And I'm gonna tell you something. It's hard to really tell because, like, AI nowadays is so much more advanced. With everything they can do, and that wasn't back in the AI days. So it's like, what was that really?
No.
You know what I mean?
No, and for anybody who's watching this, make sure you're following me on Facebook because I'm gonna upload a couple of other videos that I found that I couldn't get to upload to Restream, but there's a lot more. I have one of Elvis Presley. I have one of somebody talking behind a government official, like they were manipulating them and controlling their brain to talk and speak for them.
Yeah.
Insane shit ever. So yeah, that's the other thing is, do you think reptilians have the ability to control our bodies like that? Like us being a vessel for them to speak through?
Oh, absolutely. I do think they have that ability for sure, and that's how they're kind of making the moves. They're finding. I think they find weak-willed individuals and then take over, and then that's how they move. 100%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's wild.
Even like with what you said with the and I was trying to look at that with the third eye, with that crystal ball in their head. That's would be how they do it. Because we have a third eye too, and that's I kind of had a thought. That you ever hear they call us? We have a reptile brain. You ever hear that? Or you're using your reptile brain?
Oh.
You ever heard that? It's like a saying. I've heard people. When you're. Let me see if I can pull it up. Reptile brain.
Reptile brain.
Reptile brain. Yep. Okay. Hack your lizard brain. So using your reptile brain, it says, yeah, engage in mindfulness and deep exercise. That's not what I want. I want what this saying is. I suck at Googling things. I never know how to ask Google for shit.
Me neither. I've been using ChatGBT lately only because it talks to me like a person would, and like I don't have to look at a billion different links.
Oh yeah.
ChatGBT is just like, oh, hello, friend. Yeah, this is what it's like, and this is how it is, and this is what it looks like.
So the saying about the reptilian lizard brain refers to the idea that humans have an instinctive and primitive part of the brain, and that the brain that governs our actions without consciousness and awareness, and that the brain that's the part of the brain that's referred to as a lizard brain, is responsible for our basic survival functions such as fight and flight, feeding, and fear.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I've never heard that.
Yeah.
Using your
I would have
reptilian brain.
I would have teachers tell you that, you lizard brain or whatever like that. It's like, what the hell? I'm not a lizard.
I had also on a video I watched on YouTube just today about reptilians. Some of their other characteristics and stuff are like, for the good and positive ones, they're very easily adaptable to people they're around. They get along with people. Like they can go into any kind of different kind of friend circle and get along with every single one of them. They're very liked and easily blendable.
See, I like that, but I also feel like that's also how like the shape shifting manipulator thing too. Like, oh, I'm gonna infiltrate this group and make them like me and da 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 da, and then bam.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not trusting these guys as
I
much.
I also wonder if all reptilian people know that they're reptilian. You know, like a lot of the Starseed children, we don't have the memories of us being Starseed children until the time is right. So what if, like, do they know that they're reptilians? Do they know about all their abilities, or are they just here like the rest of the Starseed exist and then figure out later on?
Right. That's an interesting thought. I think that's valid. I think that's very valid. Yeah. Maybe
Very, very interesting.
yeah. Yeah.
Well, did you have anything else on the reptilians?
No. What was that one show that came out back in the day with those dinosaurs that was like a family? It was like a sitcom, but they're all dinosaurs.
We're back. Oh,
It was called Dinosaurs? Yeah. Okay.
yeah,
It's called Dinosaurs.
yeah.
That show always freaked me out as a kid.
Oh, with the animatronic.
Yeah. I'm not the mom. I'm not the mom. Yeah.
I loved that show growing up. I had toys of all of them. It was so fucking cool.
Yeah.
All right, well, I think our next one, take me through that cycle again. Like what our next episode is gonna be and why.
Oh, it should be the Lyrians, because they're like they're like the cats, and we kind of already talked about that a little bit. And they are our protectors.
Mhm.
Yeah, on this human plane, I
Yeah.
know that they are definitely our protectors, for sure. The Lyrians, and then again that extends into the cats. And I remember thinking to myself before I had mentioned to you, after doing this, we're going to need to hit something a lot more positive and upbeat and funny.
Yeah, from one that's kind of dark and mysterious and still very unknown to
Yeah,
a very good and positive protecting kind,
right.
which I think will be great. Yeah.
And we'll be able to get into like all the whole astrology about Leo and all that. And
Hmm.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'll try to schedule this one out, but if weird stuff happens to us like this reptilian episode, we'll probably just do a surprise live again.
Okay. Yeah, I love these surprise ones though.
Yeah, for sure. All right, well, thank you so much for doing this mini series with me, and I can't wait for the next one.
Me too, Sunray. This is great. I appreciate you having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great.
All right.
All right, guys, that is it for this episode of Let's Talk Ghost. I hope you enjoyed it very, very much. If you'd like to catch the replay, go check out my YouTube, go subscribe. That would be forever appreciated. And until next time, you guys, keep it creepy. Bye.